Okay, lads. Differentiation is a bit like the alphabet. You don't quite understand it initially, but then when you spell a word, it makes sense. Okay, so I'm just going to bring you down here and show you a few tricks. Okay, so if I was to give you x5 and I ask you what we say is y equals x5. Now, when I change y to dy dx, this is known as differentiating the left side. Okay. You don't have to understand it, you just have to memorize it. Now, when we're talking about the left side, here's the rule for differentiation. You bring the 5, whatever power is up here, you bring it to the front, okay? And then what you say is 5x, take 1 away from the old power, and you're left with 5x4. Is that okay? If we were to differentiate, let's say, x2, x squared. Once again, we change y into dy dx and do the same procedure. Bring 2 to the front, keep your letter, and take 1 away, and you get 2x1. You don't have to put down the 1 because it just means 2x. Okay, the next one's a bit more difficult. Okay, so you'll remember that in your calculator, anything to the power of 0 gives you an answer of 1. 5 to the power of 0 is 1. 10 to the power of 0 is 1. Sorry, 10 to the power of 0 is 1. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. And same thing, x to the power of 0 is also 1. So here's another one for you, okay? Ready for this? So what we're going to say here is that y equals, for argument's sake, say x. X is x to the power of 1. Bring the 1 down, and you get dy dx equals 1 to the front, x, and then 1 take away 1 is 0. And x to the power 0, we all know, is 1. So, really quick, we're going to try another level of this now, okay, guys? We're going to try level 2 of these questions, okay? And here's level 2. Okay? So, level 2 is like this. Okay? So, level 2, I'm going to put a number in front of it, like so. So, this is going to be 3x5. This is going to be 5x2, and this last one's just going to be something like 5x. Now there's a really easy way of doing these ones, right? So first of all, the 5 goes to the front like it did last time, but it multiplies by the 3 to make 15. You take 1 away from the power and you get 15x4. The 2 goes to the front, multiplies by the 5. Then you take 1 away from the 2 and you get 10x1, or simply 10x. Now the last one's easy again. You bring the 1 to the front, multiply it, and you get 5. Take away it, and you end up with x0, and you know x0 is 1, so just 5 is the answer. In fact, there's a shortcut with these ones. The derivative of 5x is 5. The derivative of 10x is 10. The derivative of kx is k. The derivative of 1000x is simply 1000. Okay, so you can get away with those ones very fast. Okay, now the last thing we got to do is clear what numbers are. Okay, so in the case of numbers, let's say I have y equals 5. Any regular number turns to 0. Doesn't matter if it's 10, 105, 1050, it doesn't matter, it'll always turn to 0. Is that right? Now finally, the last level, level 3, is when you have fractions at the front. Okay, and I'm sure you guys love your fractions. Well, here's level 3. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. We could have a quarter x to the power 5. We could have 3 over 2 x2. And then we could have 5 minus 5 halves x, let's say. And then finally, the last one is minus 3 over 2. Okay, first things, same as last time. Bring the 5 to the front and multiply it by a quarter. So 5 multiplied by a quarter, which you guys should know is 5 over 4. So 5 over 4, take 1 away from the power, 5 over 4 x4. Next one, bring the 2 to the front. So it's 2 times 3 over 2. And you get 3. Take 1 away from the power and you get 3x1. But remember, you don't need to worry about the x, the 1. Okay. Last one is an x, so it doesn't matter, whatever it is, just take away the x and you get minus 5 over 2 for dy dx. This one here is a regular number, so its derivative has to be 0. Okay. Now we're ready to take on the questions above, and we will have to take on a few of them. Okay, step 1. Question 1, what is dy dx? Well, dy dx is 3 to the front, take 1 away from the power, 3x2. Part 2, 2 to the front, take 1 away from the power, so it's going to be 2x1, or simply 2x. Question 3, it's an x1, so just drop the x and you get dy dx equals 8. For part 4, bring the 2 to the front, so it's going to be 2 multiplied by a quarter, and if you put that into your calculator you should get a half. So you get a half. Take 1 away from the power, a half x1, or simply a half x. Okay. Question 5. It's a regular number, so dy dx will end up to be 0. Question 6. We concentrate on the third, so it's basically the 3 on the bottom doesn't matter. Okay, so it's basically a third x3. Bring the 3 to the front, so it's going to be 3 multiplied by a third, because take 1 away from the power is x squared, and 3 times a third when you put it in your calculator is just going to be 1, so your answer is going to be x squared. Alright guys, I'm going to rub out these questions 1 to 6 here, and I'm going to start with question 7 afresh. Y equals minus 5x. Remember, it's just an x1, so just take away the x and you get minus 5. For question 8, it's also just an x1, so just take away the x and you get the answer, and you get the y dx equals minus 5 over 2x. For question 9, it's just a regular number, so the derivative will be 0. Okay, so far so good. Now we're on to question 10. Okay, so in question 10, what we have is y equals x squared minus 3x. Now, you gotta do this in 2 parts, okay? So here's the 2 parts you need to do it in. You take the x squared on its own, bring the 2 to the front, take 1 away from the power, so it's 2x1, or basically just 2x. This is an x number, so you just drop the x and you get minus 3, and that's the answer for question 11. Sorry, question 10. Now the answer for question 11, however, is y equals x cubed minus 4. Bring the 3 to the front, take 1 away from the power, and you get 3x squared. The minus 4 is a regular number, so it turns into a 0, which you don't even need to worry about. Okay, and the y obviously turns into dy dx. Just means you differentiate it. Okay, now we're on to question 12. We get y equals x squared over 10 plus 3x. We differentiate, do y dx. So what we have here is it's 1/10 x squared plus 3x. Now the 2 goes to the front and it multiplies by 1/10. So 2 times 1/10. Take 1 away from the power and you're left with x1. 2 times 1/10 is 1/5 when you put it into the calculator. It's 1/5. So we're going to get 1/5 x. And then when you differentiate 3x, you just get 3 because remember, just drop the x and you're sorted. Okay, so that's question 12 done. Now on to question 13. So on question 13, we have y equals x squared minus 3 over 2 x cubed. For x squared, bring the 2 to the front and you get 2 and then x, take 1 away from the power, it's 2x1, but we don't need the 1 to make that work. Next one, bring the 3 to the front, so it's going to be 3 over 2 times 3, take 1 away from the power, it's 2. So 3 times minus 3 is minus 9 over 2 x2. Once again, you can use the calculator for minus 3 over 2 times 3. And you get minus 9 over 2, okay? X squared. So that's question 13 done. The next one's question 14. Y equals x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1x. So do y dx equals, bring the 3 to the front, take 1 away from the power, 3x squared. Bring 2 to the front, multiply it by 4 to get 8. Take 1 away from the power. And remember, this is just a regular one, so it's just drop the x and you get 1. Okay, that's 14 done. And now we're on to 15. Y equals 14 minus 3x. Do y dx. 14 is a regular number, turns to 0. This just has an x on it, so it's just minus 3. So your answer is just minus 3. That the y dx is very important, lads. Please do not forget it. And at 16, we get y equals 3 over 2x plus 1. The 1's a regular number, it'll turn into 0. Just drop the x for that, so it's just 3 over 2. So dy dx equals 3 over 2. Okay, that's it. Now, lucky for me, I have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 done on another video already. So it means I don't have to do them again, which is brilliant. Good for me. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm just going to blank out these ones. If I can get a handle on it. There we go. Now, fill out y, and then there we go. There's our 3 questions here. Now, the big difference between this question and the last question is we used to have y here, and then we'd write down dy dx. In these questions, all that you do instead is to say that you differentiated, you just write down f dash x. The dash means you differentiated once. x2, bring the 2 to the front, and it turns into 2x. Take 1 away from the power. 2 take away 1 is 1. Don't need to put down that 1 though, so don't worry about it. Okay, 4 is a regular number. When it differentiates, it turns to 0. This one here, this is 1x. When you differentiate an x, you just leave over the number. This is x3, bring the 3 to the front and it becomes minus 3. take 1 away from the power, minus 3x squared. And finally the last one, which is f dash x. 4 is a regular number, disappears. 3x, just drop the x and you get 3. Alright guys, that's questions 1 to 16.